From haunted houses to cursed artifacts, from whispers in the dark to battles you'll never read in scripture. This is the Unholy podcast, hosted by Doug Owen, author, investigator, and survivor of one of the most harrowing real-life hauntings ever documented. Each week, Doug pulls back the veil between this world and the next, sharing stories that aren't fiction, because he lived them. Prepare yourself. The silence is over.
Welcome back to the Unholy podcast, where shadows whisper and silence is never truly empty. I'm your host and paranormal investigator and author, Doug Owen. Tonight, we're going to dive into one of the darkest corners of the paranormal. Spirits that don't just haunt, they hunt. So we're going to entitle this segment here, Ghosts That Kill. Now, I know we've touched base on this in the past, and we've talked about the Bell haunting, the Bell Witch. John Bell, we've talked about him, and some other things like the entity. But some ghosts rattle doors, right? Knock on walls, show up in photos, but what about the darker ones? You hear the stories all the time. The ones that where a ghost doesn't just frighten, but it leaves bruises, scratches, or worse. Can a spirit actually kill? Well, we kind of dove into that last time, but let's talk a little bit more. History is littered with accounts of violent hauntings. Littered. I've met people on the streets who tell me that they've had experiences. We've all heard about poltergeists throwing objects and spirits leaving claw marks on walls, or skin. But in rare cases, witnesses claim something more sinister. People collapsing, suffering heart attacks, or wasting away after prolonged encounters with the supernatural. Skeptics will always tell you stress, fear, the power of suggestion, and medical issues can explain it all. And sometimes they're right. But what if, just maybe, something on the other side can reach across the veil and touch us in a way we can't explain? Not like the bad touches where you got to show on the doll what happened, but really make physical contact. Consider the famous Bell Witch haunting. Early 1800s, Tennessee, John Bell, the patriarch of the family, he was tormented for years by an entity. Now, when he finally died, neighbors, of course, whispered that the witch had poisoned him, of course, right? Even today, the Bell Witch Cave is infamous for strange activity. Then there are more modern cases, investigators reporting sudden illnesses, mysterious scratches appearing on their back, or feeling choked by unseen hands. Are these simple coincidences, or warnings that some places, some things should remain undisturbed? I've seen the television shows briefly, and I don't watch paranormal television shows right off the bat, just so you know. I'm not familiar with them. I know a Zach, somebody or other, but every time I try to watch, I usually end up almost piss myself laughing because it's so ridiculous. These people, oh, did you hear that? Did you see that? No, me and the 39 fucking cameras we had here couldn't catch it. So it's amazing to me that these guys do this for ratings. You take any old abandoned place and they say, oh, this looks spooky enough. Let's go ahead and get our cameras on and let's go ahead and make some noise and shit. And they never capture definitive proof. Well, I have definitive proof. I have witnesses. I have audio. I have video. I have pictures that show these entities and these things. So when I watch these television shows or I see them, oh, look at that, there's an orb. Bullshit. It's almost laughable. You guys want to see something? Come over to my house. I'll show you something. Stay here for a month. Stay here for a week. I'll show you some shit you've never seen before. And it's real. Not imagined. Not Hollywood bullshit. Just real. So, paranormal researchers suggest several possibilities. We all look at this and try to be scientific about it, but there just isn't enough information yet. Residual energy, a violent death imprinting itself into a place, replaying again and again. Maybe. Broken record, skip record. Could be. It sure shows up on the EMF, right? But we don't know. Malevolent entities, not human spirits, but something older, darker, something that never was human. Or our beliefs might fuel them. Think about that for a minute. The more we fear, the more powerful they become. We give them power. And then the more dangerous they become. That's a possibility. It's also possible that we're all stuck inside of a different dimension due to the Higgs boson or the CERN particle accelerator experiments, It's possible we're sitting on the verge or the event horizon of a black hole that we don't know about, and there's strange residual energies. Maybe it's just us living a parallel life in another universe, and sometimes realities intersect. I can tell you this, 2 nights ago, I heard calamity in my kitchen. The dog, my daughter, we were all in the same room together. No one else in the house. And I heard a rustling. It sounded like a dog going through a trash bag. So the dog even looked mystified. So couldn't find anything. The next day, I saw what looked to be a garbage bag that was pulled from underneath the kitchen sink, tucked neatly between the cupboard door and the cupboard itself, closed, pinched in there. But it was open, with a bunch of air in it, so it was kind of fluffy. And it was pulled out, like somebody was trying to pull a garbage bag to fill up garbage. So it definitely looked like a human had done this, not a rodent or a rat or anything. Opened up a garbage bag. You know how fun it is to shake those garbage bags open and make the big loud noise? Well, it was completely open, and it was stuck in there. So, what are these entities? Nobody knows. The Catholic Church has been fighting this for centuries. They have more knowledge about this, but they don't necessarily share it, and I know that firsthand. So, we don't really know what these entities are. Are they a mirror image of ourselves that are pissed off or angry at us, or take the old adage of if you meet yourself, kill him? Or is that if you meet your master, kill him? I can never remember. But it's important to understand that doppelgangers are also there. Why are there doppelgangers? Why are there mirror images of us? What is it with mirrors anyway? That's a whole other segment. But can ghosts really kill? Well, maybe not with a knife or a gun, but fear can kill you. Fear itself is a powerful weapon. Fear can weaken the body, shatter the mind, even stop a heart. Whether the danger comes from beyond the grave or from inside our own imaginations, one thing is certain. When the dead refuse to rest, the living rarely sleep soundly. Well, I don't sleep well anyway, but something interesting to think about. Are these spirits, energies, entities, parallel dimensions, other beings, other versions of ourselves, intersecting in time and space? We just don't know. We capture these things on film occasionally. In my experience, though, and sad to say, in my experience, they're never good. And people tell you, oh, I've got a guardian angel, or that's an angel, that's a good spirit. Well, I have yet to encounter one, because all of my encounters have been violent and malevolent. These things mock and take delight in causing pain and misery. And I've done battle face to face, on the front lines. But these things, whatever they are, they delight in breaking you from your faith. They're strategic, they're smart, and they're calculating, and they never rest. They figure out the best way to defeat you, and they go about doing it. Almost like a poke and a prod in a battlefield scenario where you've got a minesweeper walking ahead of the platoon. Testing and probing. And once they figure it out, they pull out all the stops. They don't give a shit. They want to win, no matter what the cost, no matter what they have to do. So, I'm going to go ahead and leave you with this warning. Remember, sometimes the silence is the most terrifying thing. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk again soon.
You've just heard another chilling chapter of the Unholy podcast, hosted by Doug Owen, author, investigator, and witness to the things most feared to name. For more real stories, cursed objects, and exclusive content, step deeper into the dark at authorDougOwen.com. Subscribe, share, and remember, some silences aren't empty, they're waiting.